And so many times people begin to demand funny things. Demand that their meals be cooked in a certain way, demand that things be done. Some of the things are unrealistic demands that you place on your spouse, and you kill them. You kill them because you are having so many demands which are unrealistic. But you need to ask yourself, what can I do for my spouse this Christmas? Ask your neighbor, what can I do for you this Christmas? I said, tell your spouse, what can I do for you this Christmas? And you must demand an answer. Number 11, there's the law of purity. There's the law of purity. The Bible says in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. Now we must keep marriage in all purity. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, think about these things. Now, marriage must be kept in purity. Sexual purity must be maintained in marriage. If you are not yet married, if you engage and adult in sex, that is fornication. And somehow you compromise your relationship. You compromise your relationship big time. And so sexual life has been reserved for the institution of marriage. And for married people, it is important that you keep your spouse, you keep your husband, your wife, and make sure that you keep your marriage pure in all respects. That is why we must always be able to respect each other and understand that maintaining purity is crucial in every marriage. Last point number 12, is the law of faithfulness. The law of faithfulness. Malachi chapter 2, verse 14. Yet you say, wherefore, because the Lord has been witness between you and the wife of your youth, against whom ye have dealt with treacherously, yet she is thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. In other words, you must be faithful to the wife of your youth or to your spouse. You must be faithful to them. All the days of your life, you must be faithful. Faithful in talking to them, faithful, in the things that you say to them. Don't compromise, but be faithful to your spouse and do the best that you can. Be transparent and make sure that you make your marriage work. Now, brothers and sisters, this may seem to be very basic things, but these are the things that you need for you to make your marriage work. Because unfortunately, marriage is not something that we can prophesy into or say in the realm of the spirit and whatever. Marriage demands that you come down to Mother Earth. Come down to Mother Earth and be very real. Mature yourself. Be a person who is developed. Be a person that can build a good marriage, and marriage will thrive. Marriage will thrive. And you need to understand that in marriage, that when it comes to marriage, I'm going to do the best that I can. Now, let me conclude now by just giving you a few points here from my heart. Brothers and sisters, marriage is crucial. You need to understand that marriage is honorable. To be married is something which is honorable. Unfortunately, nowadays that people take marriage for granted, but marriage is honorable. Now, we need then to come to the place where we value marriage and not take it for granted. Don't just walk into relationships willy-nilly. I want to test this, I want to see whether this works or not. Then if it doesn't work, I'll try another one 6 months, and you've got a backup plan. You can't do that. Some people enter a relationship with a backup plan. That if it doesn't work with Linda, then I'll go to Julia. If it doesn't work with Julia, I've got a backup plan. You can't do that. You can't play around with life like that. You need to be serious with what you're doing and have a vision of where you're going, because it is crucial to do that. Marriage, number 2, is not based on things. You can't base your marriage on things. Don't build a marriage on things. Don't get married because someone has got a car or someone has got money. Don't base marriage on things. If you base marriage on things, the problem that you have, the day you don't have those things, is going to be a problem. And you can't love someone because of things. Love someone because of who they are, their personality, their vision, where they are going, and the qualities that you see in an individual, not on things. Thank God for things that come, but at the end of the day, you must be able to understand that I'm not getting married to a car, I'm not going to getting married to a house or to things. You can't build a marriage on things, I tell you. It doesn't matter how many things you have, but if your marriage is based on things, it is going to collapse one way or the other. It's going to collapse one way or the other. You have problems because you never considered anything else. All you are building is a marriage on things, and you can't build a marriage on that. Have a vision for the future. Have a vision for where you're going, and be careful who you say, who you talk to. Because sometimes we talk to people and they deceive us and talk a lot of things to us, but you must be able to understand where you're going and the lifestyle that you want to build as an individual. Number 3, marriage is not a corporate decision that you make and a committee that you say, I'm going to make a decision to get married to so and so with a committee. Don't look for 5, 10 sisters there and have a gathering and say, shall I agree to Brother Jonathan or not? Shall I agree to Brother Mike or not? You can't do that. You need to understand that marriage is your own decision that you make. It's a personal decision that you make, but you need to make it wisely. You can seek divine counsel, but don't make a commit decision when it comes to marriage. It's your own decision that you make. And you must be able to understand that in life. And you must have the right kind of maturity, the wisdom to make the right choices in life. And it's very, very important to do that in life. It's very, very important to do that. Why? Because you won't be married to your friends when you get married. You'll be married to that man, you'll be married to that woman. And sometimes I've seen a lot of negative influences when it comes to marriages. And you get negative influence, and you miss out on someone who was good in your life because you listen to someone else. But we need to understand that when it comes to marriage, it's your own decision that you make, because you are going to be with that person for the rest of your life anyway, and you need to be faithful to that individual that you are going to be married to. And it's very, very important to understand that. Now, the other thing that you need to understand also is the fact that you can't do without commitment. You need to be committed. Let's not get into marriages or relationships and we're not committed and we are just playing games with each other. Let's come to the place where we value relationships, where we value marriages, and know that God has ordained the institution of marriage, and there is somewhere where we are going when we get married, and there's a blessing of God that comes with marriage. There's a blessing of God that comes with marriage, and you must always realize that, and you must always understand that. That's very, very important to do that when it comes to your marriage. Let me conclude now by saying, for those of you that are married, let's give it our best shot. Let's make sure that we honor our spouses. Let's make sure we give it all. Let's make sure that we value the institution of marriage. Harvest House International Braamfontein must have men and women that say, look, we have got stable marriages, we love each other, and so forth and so forth. That's what we need to see. Let's build healthy relationships. Let's build healthy marriages. Let's make sure that the institution of marriage is valued, is honored, and all of us can come to the place where we celebrate our marriages. That's very, very important to do that. Let's rise to our feet. If there is anyone with a question, I don't normally entertain questions when it comes to marriage issues, but I think this one I might need to entertain questions. Anyone with a question that you might have, I'll entertain 3 questions if there are people with questions that you have. Normally when I preach, I don't entertain questions, but look, let me do this. I feel to do this today. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to ask, what does the Bible say about finances in marriage?
About finances in marriage?
Finances in marriage.
What does it say about finances in marriage?
Finances.
Yeah, what does the Bible say about finances in marriage? It does not point out exactly, there is no, I can't, at this point I can't come up with a scriptural reference and saying finances in marriage, the Bible says this. But look, the point is marriage is a covenant, and the Bible says the two shall become one flesh. When you get married, the two become one flesh, you become one, and I think for me what is crucial is to understand that the fact that, I'm in a covenant marriage, then what is mine is my wife's, what is my wife's is mine. I think I take it in that simple light. However you do it, the different ways that you do it is all up to you, but at the end of the day, I have no things in my life that I say this is mine and my wife is not supposed to touch. This is my iPad, this is my car, this is my this and this. I can't do that. Why? Because in the institution of marriage, I'm one flesh with my spouse. And because I'm one flesh with my spouse, I consider that all our material things, we share and we are one flesh, and that's how I simply say it. Any other question there? Any other question? Music team, you are finding? Let's rise to our feet. If there are no more questions, you can always ask me after the service if you are too ashamed to ask me now. But I want you, if you are next to your husband,